Hello there, Year 7. We are going to continue our biology studies, and this time we are saying goodbye to lands, mountains, hills, and these areas and the biomes of them, and we are going to check the waters of the world, life in seas and oceans. You need your textbook as well on page 48, 49, and instantly we are going to start with a special kind of thing where you can see the different parts of seas and oceans. So this is actually the special horizontal structure of the sea or ocean. And some parts of the fauna and flora are highlighted here. At the coastal zone, the open sea, and the deep sea. And because this is seawater, it contains minerals, and there are special pieces of information about the salt content of seas and oceans, which is worth remembering. There's always more salt near drier areas in seas and oceans as water evaporates. And those waters near the Arctic and the Antarctic zones have less salt content. Now we are going to watch a short animation. I would like you to remember certain things here. First question is, what are the basic parts of seas and oceans mentioned in the video? What plants and animals are mentioned in it? Plus, please concentrate because the importance of light is crucial in waters, and the special narrator here is going to speak about something which is important for us, namely the depth under which there is no light at all. Please remember that number in meters under which there's no light at all in seas and oceans. So let's start.
The world ocean covers 71% of the Earth's surface, thereby forming the largest habitat. Since marine habitats can be divided into different zones, environmental conditions in the ocean change from zone to zone, both horizontally and vertically. Marine habitats consist of three main zones: the coastal zone, the open sea, and the deep sea. The coastal zone is located above the continental shelf, not deeper than 200 meters. Its flora and fauna are the richest in varieties of species. The coastal zone is eutrophic because rivers that empty into it are rich in nutrients, and the remains of dead organisms also float.
So I'm going to stop it here because there's one important thing mentioned, namely the area is called coastal zone. I hope you could hear that. And it's less than 200 meters deep. Photosynthesis is typical there. Continue. What is the next zone?
Photosynthesis is possible in the coastal zone due to the presence of light. The open sea is the upper 200-meter ocean, far from the shore. Light is present in this zone as well, so photosynthesis is possible. However, there are usually not much nutrients here because the remains of dead organisms sink to the bottom of the ocean. Thus, life is scarce in the sea. Plankton prevails near coastal waters or upwellings where there are enough nutrients. Plankton is a mass of organisms floating in water that cannot swim against the currents.
So I'm going to stop it here once again. We are at the open sea zone, and the word plankton is important for us. Actually, this word comes from Greek, and it's a word describing all the little plant and animal structures in the water, which cannot really swim there. One more important thing, there's not enough nutrients for animals. So life is not so abundant in this zone. Let's see the next one. So what is the depth under which there's no light at all and light cannot penetrate that part of seas and oceans? Please remember the number 1,000 meters. Okay, so please open your exercise book as well now, because we are going to write some core information about seas and oceans. Please write the title and the date, Life in Seas and Oceans. And the first important thing, of course, you can always stop the video footage and write down the information, that in water, the conditions are rather stable and conditions change with depth. That's what we could see in the video as well. And of course, because conditions change, flora and fauna also changes, or change in this case. The sunlit zone extends to 200 meters, so light can penetrate the top part. The sunlit zone has enough light for photosynthesis. You can see the green chlorophyll in plants here. Phyto and zooplankton are important in food chains. Plankton are microscopic organisms that float freely in the ocean. So these are tiny plant and animal pieces. The tiny plants are called phytoplankton. Phyto means plant. And the tiny animals are called zooplankton. These are the microscopic little animals in water. The twilight zone is partially penetrated by light. Plants do not grow there. There are carnivorous fish. They are really typical in this zone. Here is a very special image of some of the emblematic creatures living in the different zones. Here you can see the sunlight zone at the top, twilight zone under that, midnight zone, and the abyss zone, which is the deepest part and probably the less well known. Though one of the famous film directors, James Cameron, became an expert of deep sea exploration after filming the movie hit Titanic, which is based on a true story. And because Mr. Cameron was really interested in the topic, with his crew, they started building special deep sea submarines. And he became such an expert that even the Russian, when they had a nuclear submarine problem, after an explosion, they needed his expertise. Actually, Mr. Cameron could go down to Mariana Trench, which is the deepest point on Earth. So now we can see some of his video footages on YouTube as well. If you are interested, please check that. The midnight zone is absolutely dark and cold. Water pressure is also extreme, and that is probably the most dangerous thing about that zone. And this is why it's hard to go down there. Algae are aquatic plants containing chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the green substance in the parts of algae. Algae farm can be seen here. They are single-celled or filamentous, sometimes colonial creatures. A filament is like a long stem, and colonial means that they form big groups, fields-like areas where you can find plenty of algae, really closely situated next to each other. The 30-meter long brown algae is something you can see here in the picture. It is the largest type. It has stem-like, root-like, and leaf-like organs, so they are not real stems, roots, and leaves. They are food for fish, so they have a really important role in waters. They are the primary producers in aquatic environments. Many types of usage is well known. And some of these, the important creatures from seas. This is a picture of someone's legs after a jellyfish attack. Jellyfish has these long tentacles growing out of the umbrella-shaped top, and with these they can cause these rather serious injuries. A special kind of creature is the cuttlefish. We are not going into details about that, but the octopus is something important. It's in our book as well. Herring-silvery scales are a great camouflage in open waters. Oh, sorry about this. I just changed the order of the letters. You can change that in your book. So the camouflage technique is important. So let's see what you need to remember after writing down the important parts. I would like you to check some of the animals and plants once again with me. I'm going to share my iPad screen with you. So this is something important we talked about: coastal areas, sunlit zones, twilight zones, and the midnight zone. So these are the zones of seas and oceans. It would be lovely to see a nice image of this in your exercise book as well under the text you copied. What is the creature here? Algae. Algae are tiny aquatic plants containing chlorophyll, and as you can see, they are usually green in color. They grow in many forms. They can be single-celled, so they have just one cell then, or unicellular algae, or filamentous or colonial, where many algae cells are arranged in a circle. The next creature is the brown algae, which we could see in the presentation as well. They have chlorophyll as well as several brown pigments. Brown algae are the largest of the algae. They can reach 30 meters in length. They are primary producers. We spoke about that. They produce oxygen through photosynthesis, and they are a really important source of food. They are used as fertilizers, so they can help farmers, and they are stabilizers in foods, cosmetics, and paints. What about the next thing? Corals. Corals resemble plants, but they are not. Actually, they are part of the phylum. Phylum is a big group of animals called törzs in Hungarian. Cnidaria, csalánozók. Corals are generally classified as either hard corals or soft corals. Soft corals don't have a rock-like skeleton, while hard corals extract calcium from the surrounding seawater and use this calcium to create a really hardened structure for protection and growth. Coral polyps have developed a relationship with tiny single-celled plants. Inside the tissue of each coral polyp lives a single-celled algae, and they live in symbiosis this way. The algae uses carbon dioxide waste produced by the coral. And the coral, on the other hand, provides the algae with a place to live, water, and carbon dioxide, which it uses in photosynthesis. The next items are the plankton, the microscopic organisms. We mentioned that they can be either phytoplanktons, so plants, or zooplanktons, so tiny animals. Jellyfish is the next one with the umbrella-shaped top transparent body, and the mouth is located at the center of the umbrella. And the tentacles hang down around the rim of this special umbrella. It expels water from its mouth, so this is how it moves. It kind of pushes itself forward. Its skin is thin enough that oxygen can easily diffuse in and out of its body, so it doesn't need lungs. It moves by using a hydrostatic skeleton. This way we can say that. So hydrostatic skeleton is a key word here. You can even underline that on page 49 in your book. It controls the water pouch in its body to manipulate its movements. And jellyfish are carnivores. They trap food with the help of their special stinging cells, and you could see the result of that on that person's legs. Organisms that come near the animal's tentacles are stung by these tentacles, and thus the prey is paralyzed. When they are paralyzed, they can't move any longer. And after that, of course, the prey is pushed into the jellyfish's mouth by the tentacles. It has two major forms throughout its life, so the reproduction is rather complicated. Maybe you can just have a quick look at the image here. Something happened to my system, so I need to restart it. Just a second. I need to find it again. Hopefully I can solve this technical problem. If not, then I will just show you the image like this. No, it doesn't want to work right now. So I'm going to just show you this image once again, which was shown to you earlier as well. I know it's not that good quality, but the first form of the jellyfish during reproduction is the larva form, and it's called the polyp stage. And the second form is the adult, and that is the medusa stage. So these are the two things we need to remember. I'm going to try it once again, but it still doesn't want to work. Then I'm going to go back to this one, because here we had an octopus. And octopuses belong to the group of mollusks, so they don't have bones, skeletons. Unlike many other mollusks, they do not have an outer shell. They are brownish in color, usually, and they can easily camouflage themselves this way. They can release black ink from the ink sac of the body into the water, and this helps the animal escape from its enemies. They catch prey with their arms, which are more like tentacles once again, so that is the word we can use to describe these. And we can also have the herrings here. Now, at least I can change the word or the letter order here. They are small streamlined plankton feeders. Streamlined means that this shape really have them swim really fast. They travel in large groups. What do you call a big group of fish? A school of fish, okay? So you can see them like that in waters. They have a single dorsal fin. Let's find that. The dorsal fin is at the top on the back of the animal. And a bulldog-like lower jaw. Bulldog-like means that the lower jaw is kind of protruding and a bit longer than the upper jaw. The silvery scales serve as camouflage in the open waters of the ocean. They feed on krill, plankton, and small fish. So now we could complete checking the most important information on seas and oceans. Please open your workbook now on page 53. There you can find a special kind of image of the sea. It's like the cross section of it with the different zones. Please write there the names of the different zones. The book can help you on page 48. And after that, please place there the special statements from task 2 on page 53. When you finished these, page 54 is the next task, the multiple choice part. And if you completed all these, please send me the workbook tasks in an email so I can just check that you could do it, and we will meet each other in our Zoom session later on. Keep up good work. Bye-bye.